Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful. Thank you for your response. So the screen is visible. How about the audio? Can all of you hear me? Wonderful. Thanks, Rajiv. Thanks, Mitesh. Thanks, Teju, for responding. Right, so let's get started. Just give me a moment. All right. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon to each one of you, and thank you for joining in on a working day, especially. So, my name is Deepak Shukla. I'm the program lead for Cloud and DevOps programs at Great Learning. And today we're going to discuss some very interesting aspects of cloud computing in general. And we are going to specifically look at professionals like you and I. How can we make a great opportunity that cloud is, and how can we maximize our returns as an aspiring professional? Right. So what we're going to do today is we have about an hour or so to have this discussion, and we'll try to keep it as interactive as possible. I'm assuming all of you had lunch, so there would be some energy on your part as well to interact. To start with, what we'll do is we'll look at the cloud as an emerging trend and more so as an established market trend as of now, as of today. And we look at what the market is and what kind of companies are using cloud and for what purposes. We'll also have a quick look at what kind of other innovations is cloud encouraging and making possible. And most importantly, in just the second half of this particular discussion, we'll have a detailed look at how can you get maximum returns as a professional by investing in yourself and upskilling in the cloud domain, right, as well as DevOps. So the discussion encompasses both cloud and DevOps, but we'll start with cloud computing first, and I'm happy to answer any questions towards the end. Right, so assuming all of you can hear me and see the screen, let's get started. Now, the first thing that I have for all of you guys is not a title slide, but a snapshot into what the market is saying about cloud computing, right? If you look at the numbers in front of you now, it's clearly evident that the present as well as the future is cloud computing, right? So the market size is over a $400 billion just by next year. We are saying more than 80% of enterprise workloads will move to cloud by next year again. And more than 80% of the companies now have a multi-cloud strategy. Imagine this thing about just a few years ago, people wondering about, hey, is cloud computing real? What about the security concerns? What will happen to my data? What would happen to my applications? Now that time and era is long gone, right? We are living in a totally different times now, and today more than 80% of the companies, four-fifths of the companies have a multi-cloud strategy, right, which clearly means they're investing in cloud, and they're investing heavily, right, both globally as well as in India, right? So in India itself, by next year, it's over a $4 billion market, just cloud computing specifically, and these are numbers that are bound to change positively, right, in the next few years. So to get started, essentially, it's a huge market. It's a huge technology evolution, not just for small businesses or individuals, but also for large enterprises. And at the same time, cloud isn't only for large enterprises, but also for individuals like you and I, or startups that want to scale quickly at a global level, as well as small and medium enterprises, right? So we'll see how each of these stakeholders can leverage the power of cloud to maximize their business innovation and customer satisfaction. Just about 1 or 2 decades ago, we all understand about the hardware boom that you've seen in the last 1.5 decades, right? The kind of smartphones that you have today, or the kind of laptops that you work on, or the kind of servers that enterprises and companies employ, either by themselves or with something as cloud, that has evolved massively, right? Uh, as has automation, both on the hardware as well as software front. So companies today want to focus on their business, right? So of course, companies have always wanted to focus on their business interest, but IT, we all understand, has both been an enabler of businesses, but also a big distraction, right? So for institutions like banks, hospitals, educational organizations, large oil and gas companies, pharmaceutical companies, automotive industries, and so on, for all of these companies, we all understand there's a huge requirement of IT investment and infrastructure, both in terms of hardware and software, applications as well as servers. But this has largely been taken care of now by cloud computing, right? So companies have evolved. They want to spend less and less time fighting with their servers, worrying about their infrastructure and data centers, and they want to focus completely, almost completely on the business value that they deliver to their customer, right? Because guess what? At the end of the day, you're not getting any points or discounts from your customer just for saying that, hey, I use about 1 million servers just to give you a cab ride with Uber or Ola. Uh, you know what? Customers don't care about it. All they care about is, are they getting a cab ride when they need it, and how good was it, right? So as a company, as an organization, as a business, you do not get points for using servers. You get points only for serving your customers and users. That's what companies are doing now, and that's what cloud is helping them to achieve. These are just some of the few examples of both startups as well as small companies as well as enterprises that have been almost built on cloud, right? So there's a term called born on cloud. So if you're a startup today, also if you're an individual today, all you need is a cloud-based subscription, and obviously some technical understanding as a customer, and you can leverage the power of a global infrastructure at the flip of a switch, right? You can go with either AWS, you can go with Microsoft Azure, you can even go with Google Cloud or maybe Alibaba Cloud. It really doesn't matter, right? So what's essential here for all of us to understand is how powerful cloud has become in a very short span of time, right? About back in 2004, when S3 was launched, Simple Storage Service from AWS, it was just a remote directory where you could push your files, right? Your documents. Fast forward to 15 years now, 1.5 decades later, cloud can give you almost everything. You talk about machine learning and artificial intelligence, it is on cloud. You can simply consume these services from any of the top three providers. You talk about batch processing, right? You can do that on cloud. You talk about data lake, data warehousing, Hadoop clusters, Spark, all of that big data stuff. You can do that on cloud as well. You talk about storing patient records. You talk about crunching your IoT data, setting up your Internet of Things infrastructure, doing self-driving cars and analyzing real-time traffic patterns. All of these things have become possible on cloud, and they are offered as utilities, as services by these top cloud providers, right? So these are just some of the examples of companies which are driving massive innovations, and not just that, they're also saving a lot of money, right? Which at the end of the day is the most important aspect for a customer, right? A couple of more numbers here. We won't get into all of these numbers, but I would like to draw your attention to the top left corner, right, which here is saying it's over $150 billion by 2020. This number specifically is a little old because Forbes recently came up with a revised estimate of over a $400 billion market in the next couple of years. If you look at the second row here and the first two boxes, what it tells you is the top two cloud providers. Now they are, unarguably AWS, Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft Azure. So these are the top two cloud computing companies that customers and businesses are using across the world. So if you are looking to learn cloud, these are the top two platforms you should definitely learn. AWS, of course, because of its market dominance, the number of jobs available, the number of skills in demand from employers, and between Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud, that's a choice that you can make based on your interest or company project requirements. So it's quite an aggressive area to be in, and it's quite a promising field for you to be in as a professional. And if you're looking to upskill and move from a traditional career path, right? Now, when we're talking about the growth here, like I said, it's cloud computing is not just growing globally; it's also happening in India, right? If you look at the trend here, it's almost linear, right? You're growing every year, and by next year, it's over a $4 billion market, and it's nearly 3 times the growth in the last 4 years, right? So it's quite interesting how fast this field is growing, and we've been doing cloud and DevOps for over a year now at Great Learning, and we've had the opportunity and privilege to educate and train and upskill more than 400 professionals in this short span of time, and they've seen amazing opportunities come their way. So it's a great space to be in. Of course, there are two categories when you talk about cloud computing. There's the public cloud space and there's the private cloud space. What you see in front of you here, again, the top three providers are AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. All these three are public cloud providers, right? What that essentially means is you don't have to be a company to get services from AWS, Azure, or Google. You can pretty much be anybody. You can be an individual and just sign up for either an AWS, Azure, or Google account and start consuming cloud services, right? All you need is a credit card. That's how easy it is. And you don't have to trust AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud right from step one and give your credit card information to them. The good thing is all these three providers give you a free account, which has a lot of resources for you to consume. You can deploy a static website. You can create a database. Insert tables, do your analytics. You can fire queries on your data. You can create different types of virtual machines and so on. And then these are just very few nominal examples that you can do with a free account. And once you feel that, hey, I'm comfortable with this particular cloud provider, you can choose to sign up with them, either as an individual, a small business, a startup, or a large company, right? Now, if you look at the bottom four names here, IBM, VMware, Oracle, Alibaba Cloud, just because they have smaller numbers on this particular chart here doesn't mean they are insignificant, right? What means here is because this is a public cloud adoption chart, uh, IBM, VMware, Oracle, and Alibaba are more active in the private cloud space, right? They are not massive public cloud players. IBM has a little presence also in the public cloud market with its more famous Watson and IoT services. But VMware, Oracle, Alibaba are very active in the private cloud space. So they are also present in the domain, but because public cloud is the first point of contact for a lot of people to learn cloud computing, it's very likely that you would have come across AWS, Azure, and Google as cloud computing companies, right? Also, to the question, who is using cloud computing? The answer is almost everyone, right? So if you or I are not using cloud computing, being a tech professional, it's a cause of concern, really, right? I'm not saying everybody has to know cloud or understand cloud, but at least the awareness of what cloud computing is really helps. And if you are a tech professional who wants to ride on the bandwagon of cloud computing, like analytics, machine learning, AI, cloud is one of the top jobs to look for, even by LinkedIn reports and so on. This is very specific to India. We have a lot of traditional data centers in the country, and what's happening really is all these traditional data centers are getting converted into cloud-based data centers. I'll make it simple. All these traditional data centers are using virtualization, right? Are using hypervisors, and are riding on top of the power of VMs, virtual machines, and containers to maximize their output capacity, right? To maximize the IT efficiency. So the green space that you see here is going down year on year, right? And both the blues here represent cloud transformation, right? So two-thirds of the companies globally still use traditional data centers, and that number is larger in India. So as a professional in India, you again have a massive opportunity to upskill as a cloud professional and also to do some really nice projects in this particular area. Another statistic to support what we've been discussing. So public cloud is of course the largest space for companies investing in cloud, but there are investments and professionals needed also in the private as well as hybrid cloud space, right? So hybrid would be some combination of both public and private. Now what's that combination? We leave that out of scope for today, but it can vary depending on multiple use cases. Now, a very common misconception and a myth is that cloud is just about infrastructure, right? Now, that's a misconception that might have been true a few years back, but as of today, it's amazing what kind of services, what kind of IT capabilities cloud can give you, right? You think of anything that you would want to create, it's very likely that cloud will have that particular service. You want to create APIs, there's a service on the cloud that will help you do that. You want to create a dynamic website using serverless, of course cloud is doing that. You want to create an AIML model, a machine learning model, cloud will help you do that. You want to create a deep learning model, cloud will help you do that. You want to set up a billion container service, you want to set up an infrastructure like Google, which runs on millions of containers every day, right? Cloud is doing that. And so similarly, cloud evolution is also a lot about software, right? It's not just about hardware. And when I say software, now everybody's talking about microservices. And the reason people are now talking about microservices is because you have something like containers, right? The concept of microservices is not old. The concept of containers is I'm sorry, the concept of microservices is really old. It's not new. And the concept of containers is also very old, right? It's as old as, dates back to 1970s. But we have started using now because it's become technically possible for us to have things like containers and microservices. I guess there's a question here. Just let me have a quick look. Okay. Mohit is asking what's market of Google Cloud and Alibaba Cloud. So Mohit, let me not give you an exact number because that keeps on changing on a day-to-day basis. But Google Cloud recently got included in Gartner's Magic Quadrant in the top 3 cloud providers. So it's at the 3rd position as of now in the public cloud space, right? And Alibaba, like I showed you in one of the charts back here, if you're looking at the screen, it's just about 1 or 2%, right? So Google is about 18% in terms of adoption just last year. For this year, we'll have to wait for the numbers. And Alibaba is just a new entrant in South Asia and Asia Pacific, right? So Alibaba is more dominant or has been more dominant in China. It has recently, ventured outside China in terms of cloud market, right? So Google is pretty much the 3rd position. Mohit, does that answer your question? Cool, right. All right. Right. So as we were discussing, so cloud is not just about hardware. If you're a person in the software domain, if you're a developer, if you're a tech lead, if you're a QA engineer, if you are an architect, right, but not a cloud architect, and so on, it affects all of us, right? It affects all of you, whether all of us like it or not. Because guess what? The way you create and deploy software is changing with cloud. The way you think about databases and data stores, that has massively changed with cloud. Now, RDBMS was old, NoSQL was new. Today we are talking about new SQL. Even NoSQL has become a little older, so we moved towards new SQL, just a nice combination of both RDBMS as well as NoSQL data stores, right? And also with IoT and with self-driving cars, you're talking about edge computing, where we are going back to the idea of, hey, the intelligence and the computing power should not be centralized. The edge nodes should also have some form of intelligence, right? So much like a thick client in computing. Okay, I thought there was a question. All right. So cloud is a lot of things, and it's not just about hardware. Now, naturally, because of all of these things happening, cloud computing professionals are in huge demand, right? I've kept this particular slide here purposefully. It's by intention. I know the numbers are from 2017, but I wanted to let all of you know that these numbers and the demand is not just recent. It has been there for a while now, for almost about 3 to 4 years. And it is high time that professionals realize the value of cloud computing, because much like analytics, much like machine learning, whether we like it or not, it is going to come to us, right? Come to our projects, come to our vertical teams, right? Our business account and so on, because customers will come asking, hey, what can we do on cloud computing? Can you help me with that, right? So professionals are in huge demand, and that's what we see every day. I personally interview a lot of industry leaders. I personally talk to a lot of aspiring professionals, and because I'm also one of the mentors in the program, I get to interact with all of these amazing professionals who have interesting insights as to why they want to learn cloud, and what do they want to get out of it, right? What do they want to achieve out of learning cloud computing? Okay, so I guess Rajiv has a question. Right. So the question is, what will you cover when you teach cloud computing? Will that be AWS, Azure, or something else? I mean, is cloud computing standalone, not related to AWS, Azure, etc.? Okay, okay. Rajiv, what we'll do is we'll hang on to this question for a few minutes, because we are going to discuss this in detail, right? So what is going to get covered when we talk about the program specifically? Okay, yeah, just a few minutes. We'll discuss this. Thank you. All right. So, like I was saying, cloud has much more than infrastructure. If you want to become a hands-on cloud professional, you should definitely learn microservices, containers through Docker. You should learn at least a bit of DevOps, right? You should know OpenStack for private cloud. You should understand big data, even if you don't want to become a data professional, and of course, development and platform as a service, right? You don't have to be a developer, but it's always good to understand that, hey, if I have to develop something or create something, how can I do it quickly and most efficiently using cloud services, right? So that's what platform as a service helps you, achieve. So these are some of the top skills as far as cloud computing is concerned, and any program or any upskilling pathway, right, or any set of mentoring and discussions should focus on imparting you these very skills, right? So databases and big data on the cloud, of course. Number two is huge, enterprise cloud migration. I don't think there's any service company in India, that's not talking about migration. Because guess what? Their customers are talking about migration. So people who understand cloud migration are in massive demand. Containers, absolutely, not just for DevOps folks, but also for cloud architects, for developers, because this is how they, it's a new style of developing and deploying a software. DevOps on the cloud, as well as cloud governance and security. Okay, so there's a question, or rather a remark here. I've done my solution architect associate. If learn DevOps now, will it be helpful for being a cloud architect? Right. So Deepak, it will absolutely be helpful. I'll tell you the reason, because all of you will be surprised that almost 30 to 40%, right? Candidates who come to learn with Great Learning, they are already AWS and Azure certified, right? They are already AWS and Azure certified, and the reason they come to us is they are missing that end-to-end solutioning approach, and they are missing that hands-on experience, right? They are missing, getting guidance and understanding what really happens, in real life use cases, right? So 40% of the people approximately who come to us are already certified. So based on that data, this will definitely help you, right? It's much more than that. Deepak, does that help your question? Okay, wonderful. And if you want to talk about this in a lot more detail, I'm happy to have a one-to-one conversation. But yeah, certifications are great, and the slide that you see right in front of you is where I wanted to discuss this particular aspect, right? So we can do a one-to-one discussion as well. Pawan, what type of research activities can be done in cloud computing for PhD students? Oh, Pawan, I'm so happy to see this question. In fact, the way I started with cloud computing is when I was doing my master's back in Hong Kong. So, as a PhD student, you have massive opportunities for research in cloud. Um, a couple of quick things for you to kind of look at. You can look at the security aspects in cloud computing, right? So back a few years back, I had published a paper for deleting data in cloud in a secure fashion, right? So when you do data shredding in cloud, that is another hot research area, right? So Pawan, you can have a look at those things. Sure, Deepak. If there are quick questions, I'm happy to answer here. Um, and I'll talk about these certifications and how why people should not just focus on certifications. So the problem with most of the people, I'm not saying all of the people who are getting certified have this particular challenge, but if you see your LinkedIn feed, right? If you look at the number of people getting certified every day, literally on AWS or Azure or Red Hat Enterprise Linux or OpenStack or Alibaba Cloud, it's massive. Now, if so many people are getting certified, there should be no reason for employers, right, to not find the right talent. But in spite of so many people getting certified, there's a huge challenge for employers to find meaningful candidates who have hands-on understanding, as well as know how to build a solution. So certifications are really valuable. They give you a validation for your skills. But guess what? Certifications, when you study for them, when you approach a certification, it's a predetermined path, right? There's a certain way you prepare for certification examinations. There is a certain curriculum that you follow, and you kind of also understand what kind of questions probably might come up, right? And the sad truth is, right, most of the people who clear certification have not spent months building cloud solution or DevOps solution, right? They've spent months for preparing for the exam, but it does not necessarily mean that they have the required hands-on exposure. That's the reason I said, almost 40% of the people who come to us are already certified, and the top reason that they come to us is that they lack end-to-end understanding of cloud and DevOps, and also they lack, a comprehensive experience for building cloud-based solutions. So guess what? As an experienced professional, the industry is do not want to hire paper certified ones, right? That's what they call them, right? So paper certified architects or professionals, they want hands-on professionals. And when you go into an interview or when you work on real life projects, right, you should know how things don't work, right? Because in real life things will break down, you will have to troubleshoot, you'll have to use your experience and technical know-how, and certifications teach you how things should work, but real life experience teaches you how things don't work and how do you fix it, right? So that's the expertise companies are paying for, and hence you should not just become a paper certified architect or even a professional. Right, Bharat. So I'm a pre-sales consultant for Apple. Can I go ahead with cloud learning, or you want me to do any other learnings like AWS or any others? Please let me know. So Bharat, we teach AWS as well, right? But we don't teach you from the certification perspective. Our approach is more holistic and comprehensive. So if you wanted to learn cloud, you will also learn AWS with us, right? It's not a prerequisite, but as a pre-sales consultant, I'd like to understand whether you have the technical skills as a base requirement to go ahead with learning cloud computing, because at the end of the day, it's a technical area. And if you wanted to learn cloud, uh, more so from just a know-how perspective, so that you can have meaningful conversations with your customers, you could very well do our 3-month certificate program in cloud computing, right? So, and that's meant for people who are who do not want to do technical solutioning on cloud but want to understand cloud end to end from a business perspective. Bharat, does that help you? Okay, wonderful. Okay, Deepak again. Being a network engineer now, I learned, but I need to end-to-end solution making. Absolutely, Deepak. That's what I'm talking about. And it takes quite a few months and a lot of practice for us to reach there. Um, and if you're really looking to become a hands-on professional, in the cloud ecosystem, we can certainly help you do that, right? And in just a bit, I will talk about the program itself. So I think most of the questions will be answered there. And so Pavan has a question here. Pavan is asking how to choose whether we should go for AWS or Azure cloud. Pavan, if I was someone who would want to learn cloud computing, right, I would learn AWS first. Uh, if right, also looking at the market position, because AWS has the largest number of jobs and skills requirement in the industry. But if there is a project in your company which is on Microsoft Azure already, right, in that case you should go and learn Azure first, right? So that's how I would base my decision on. But the good thing is, if you kind of choose the program that we offer, not that I'm saying then there are also other programs that you can have a look at, but because of such reasons, we definitely cover both of these providers, right? Both the platforms, AWS as well as Azure. So in that case, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Yeah, Pavan, does that help your question? I hope Pavan is still there on the webinar. Okay, we'll wait for him to respond. Mohit is asking, does it require any programming language as a prerequisite to apply for this course? Mohit, no. So you don't have to know programming, but what you have to understand is Linux, more so shell commands, because you will have to access the command prompt and do a lot of things. Um, and if you're not comfortable with Linux, we also have, we also support you in doing that. So when you enroll for the program, you get something called as a pre-work, right? So we give you a set of resources to learn Linux, right? We give you a set of resources to learn Python, right, from zero. And as long as you practice that diligently, you should be perfectly fine. right? But programming is not a prerequisite, right? It helps if you know that because you'll have more context and perspective, but it's not required. Mohit, does that clarify? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so Praveen has a remark here, rather a question. For microservices, I heard Pivotal Cloud Foundry is best to deploy instead of choosing AWS and Docker and Kubernetes. Praveen, just a very honest advice to you. Uh, do not believe in things that you hear all the time, right? So I'm not saying Pivotal Cloud Foundry is not good. It is obviously a great platform, but it does not mean that you can choose Pivotal over AWS and Docker or Kubernetes for everything, right? It's always use case dependent, and it's also dependent on a couple of other factors, right? Based on what are the skills in your team, what are the platforms that your other systems are compatible with, and so on, right? So, Praveen, Pivotal is great, but that does not mean you can always choose it over AWS and Docker or Kubernetes. Does that clarify for you? Okay. Deepak, you're right. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, guys. So what I'll do is we'll quickly go to the program structure and let me talk about the skills that we will cover in the program. Because from what I see, all the questions are related to careers and what should you learn individually. So let me just hold on for a moment to all these questions and let me take you through the program details, and then we'll come back to the questions towards the end quickly. Okay. So how can Great Learning and Great Lakes help you, right? So Great Learning and Great Lakes offer their PG program in cloud computing. It's arguably the top program in the country for cloud professionals to upskill, and it is specially crafted for working professionals like you. Now, it's a 6 month executive program for all of you for working professionals, and the average experience for participants in this particular program, right, has been 11 years. Right, there are people who are younger to that particular experience range. We've had participants even 3 to 5 years of experience, or 6 to 7 years of experience, who are very ambitious and want to become architects and practice heads. But the average experience has been 11 years. So it's an amazing class to be in because the overall experience of the class, which is typically very high, is close to 300 years, right? So we have small batches, um, right? We have about just 20 people in a class. It's an online class, so just having this small number, 20 people in a classroom, helps you a lot in terms of interaction, right? So your peer group, your class group is unmatched when you take up this program, and you can learn a lot outside the curriculum also, because guess what, all of your classmates are working professionals. um, it's a combined online format, so you will learn completely online, and your learning will happen on a week to week basis. So every week you need to go through the instructional content, the video lectures that we share with you, that we have created in our own studio very carefully, and every weekend you will have a mentor session, right? There's a tons of hands-on work through labs and projects as part of this particular program, and you will be taught by people who actually live and breathe and practice cloud, DevOps, microservices, containers, all of that, right? You'll get a certificate from, of course, if you are eligible for graduation, then if you complete the program, you'll get a certificate from Great Lakes Institute of Management, which is one of the top business schools in the country, and has been doing pioneering programs for the last 5 years now. Just a quick roadmap of what you will go through in this particular program. So to build a comprehensive skills portfolio, right, for you as an aspiring professional, you'll definitely learn AWS in a lot of depth. You will get the option of choosing Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud, right, as the second cloud platform. You will work and learn containers, microservices, DevOps, cloud design patterns, and OpenStack. You will also understand, and you need to understand cloud financials, because as a cloud architect, you need to make decisions. You'll understand adoption and migration patterns, and you will also understand big data and different architectural styles. Now, for the developers amongst you, now this is not compulsory, right? Until point number 5 here is what everybody does, but we have a special developer track as part of the PG program in cloud computing, which is meant for developers, right? And it's completely optional. If you are a developer and if you want to learn cloud native development, there are certain extra requirements, like a lab and a project that you need to finish, including a course, and you get an extra certificate at zero additional cost, right? So it's another exciting aspect of the program, and you learn from people who are practitioners in the industry. So, and this is just a sample representation. There are more people involved in the entire teaching and learning process, and this is just a sample snapshot, right? So, Mr. Nirmal Mukherjee, for example, is our academic director. He's been chief architect at Dell. I myself is one of the mentors for your private cloud course as part of the curriculum. We have people who have worked at Microsoft, are working at Microsoft. There are independent experts. We have CTOs. So it's a nice mix of mentors that you will learn from, and this happens on a weekly basis. For your understanding and kind of to get a perspective of what I was saying just a few minutes back, so this is a sample class representation that we typically see in our batches, right? So you'll see people from all sorts of domains. You'll find people from consulting, manufacturing, telecom, BFSI, of course, IT and technology, even healthcare and retail that is not mentioned here, right? So, and then people from all sorts of number of years of experience and qualifications. So it's a very diverse class to be in, and it's an amazing peer group to have as far as the learning is concerned. Now, many of you must be wondering, hey, this looks quite comprehensive, this looks quite exciting, but will I have exams? Do I have to write papers or MCQs? The answer is no. The only thing on which you will be evaluated on is the hands-on work that you do, right? We do not give you theoretical assessments. We do not give you MCQ-based questions. We do not give you, theoretical paper sheets. We just give you hands-on labs and hands-on projects, including a 3-month capstone project, right? Which is a teamwork. So these are the only things you will be doing and being evaluated on, right? You will be evaluated only on hands-on stuff. So you will build and deploy a lot of labs and projects as part of the program. Just a sample, testimonial, just a sample communication from one of our students to give you an example of how real life our projects are. So this particular gentleman has been one of our learners in the past batches, and he did one of our projects, and that project was about cloud-based storage. And he went ahead and he was so interested in the project and from its real life impact, he went ahead and deployed the same project in production environment at his organization, right? And his department started using it. And as of today, this is a little older, as you can see. This is from November last year, just 2 months back. There's another department that has started using the same project in production, right? So that's a huge example of how people relate to the projects that they do. Not sure if all of you are already aware, but the AWS specialization as part of this particular program has been validated by AWS itself, and you also get a lot of additional material, learning pathways, and the global job board from AWS as part of this particular program, right? So it's an incredible validation for our program and efforts. over more than last 1 year. And should you wish to join this particular program, you'll be eligible for all these benefits. We recently also launched 2 new programs, for people aspiring to just enter cloud computing as well as DevOps. So the program that we are talking here is meant for cloud architects. So PG program in cloud computing is meant for people who want to become cloud architects, cloud leaders, cloud practice heads, consultants, and so on, typically with a few years of experience. But if you are experienced or an early career professional, and if you do not kind of want to become a very hands-on architect and do not want to become an expert in the areas, so you can take up the cloud engineer certificate program, which is just 3 months and has a shorter duration. For people who want to learn end-to-end DevOps and become an expert in DevOps, you can take our DevOps engineer certificate program. This is again 3 months, right? So please take out some time, and my recommendation would be have a look at all the programs that we offer, and we'll be happy to kind of have conversations with all of you who are interested, and we can guide you through choosing the right program for you. As far as your career is concerned, which I'm sure is one of the most important considerations when you are trying to do such a program, is career support. We take it very seriously. We do a lot of things as far as career is concerned, including career fairs. You have a job board that you have access to. For PGP in cloud computing, it is not just from Great Lakes, but also from AWS and its partners globally. So you'll have jobs not just in India, but all across the world. And we do hackathons for analytics, machine learning, and other programs. We'll be soon starting with hackathons for cloud as well. And we do one-to-one career mentorship, right? So should you need a CV review or a LinkedIn review or an interview preparation, we can certainly help you with that as well. So do check out this particular link, and we take career support very seriously, and I look forward to having most of you as part of one of our programs, and all of us should certainly be excited about it. So recently we're doing a career drive with CTS Cognizant as for our cloud professionals, and we keep doing such efforts on a regular basis. So I hope all of you got a certain understanding of what our program offers, and I'm open to all the questions now. So let me have a look at the questions. Okay, a lot of questions. So as for the program, we cover AWS, we do Azure as well as Google Cloud, but you'll have to choose kind of in between them. We teach you containers, microservices, we teach you big data, we teach you DevOps on cloud, cloud native DevOps, and so on. Right, so the curriculum is definitely part of the website, our program page. Do check it out. And let me see if there are other questions here. Okay, Senthil, I'm a VMware guy with 8 years of experience. I'm from Bangalore. How and where can I join the course and fee structure for AWS? So Senthil, you can. It's an online program, right? So it has nothing to do with location. You can pretty much join from anywhere. Good that you're in Bangalore, so you can also walk up to our office, and I'll be happy to have a discussion with you. I am based in Bangalore as well. You can join the course completely online. You can apply from our website, and our admissions team will get in touch with you. And the fee structure for the PG program in cloud computing is also part of the website. It's mentioned out there. Do check it out. And once you put in the application, our team will guide you through the entire process. But you can join in pretty much from anywhere. Yeah. Thanks, Senthil. It's a 6-month program. Yep. Okay, Harsh. So I'm an Oracle DBA working for last 7 years. My company doesn't have any project in cloud. It will, Harsh. If it doesn't have yet, it will come very soon. Either by your own company or from one of your customers. And guess what? If you're ready for taking up that opportunity, that would make sense, because it takes time for one to build some expertise, right? But yeah, it will come very soon. So this program will help you not just become knowledgeable on AWS, but the design of the program is such that we teach you cloud irrespective of the provider. So we want you to become cloud agnostic, right? So the concepts that you learn, you will also be able to use tomorrow in Oracle Cloud, right, in your own company, right? And there are a lot of discussions even on databases as far as cloud is concerned. So that will certainly help you. And most importantly, it will broaden your horizon to think not just from a DBA perspective, but also from a developer, from an architect's perspective, and also from a managerial perspective, right? When you talk about economics, right? And 7 years, I think, is a good time for you to think about the next level in your career. Harsh, does that answer your question? Okay, great. Okay, Surekha has a question. The projects which are given to work and understand on cloud computing will help us face the real-time projects in the companies. Absolutely, Surekha. Yeah. Of course, we can't give you all the real-life scenarios that you might face in your life, but the 5 projects that you do will help you a lot as far as real-life use cases are concerned. Surekha, does that clarify on your question? Wonderful. Okay. Harsh, yeah, absolutely. You can pretty much do that. Yeah, it's an online program. You can do it from anywhere. Okay, Mitesh is asking how many resources require while build cloud computing. Mitesh, can you elaborate on this question? It's quite a broad question, right? Let's narrow it down. What is it exactly that you're looking for? So I'll let Mitesh rephrase his question. Meanwhile, Pavan is asking, can we also get AWS certification? Pavan, unfortunately, I do not have the authority. We do not have the authority of issuing you a certification for AWS. You have to appear for that exam independently, and only AWS can give you a certification. As far as AWS certificates are concerned. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So only AWS can do that. Nobody else can do that. But if you complete learning pathways from AWS Educate, you can also use those credentials. But of course, certifications are different. Okay, Deepak, if we will not attend teacher direct class, how come it will help us to clear the concept in depth? Okay. Deepak, do you mean in-person class, physical classroom? Is that what you mean? Okay, I'm hoping Deepak is still there. Um, okay, so Deepak, you learn in multiple ways, right? So during the weekdays, you have to learn through the video lectures that we give you. On the weekend, you have live interaction online, right? Through Zoom meetings. So it's a live interaction. So that is how you learn again. No, it's not a daily class because working professionals do not have time for doing a daily class, realistically. So we engage you only on the weekends because that is when professionals are free, and we have quite an intense program, and even that is quite difficult for a number of people. Yeah, so daily class is not something that is part of the program. Okay, Mohit. So Mohit, these video lectures are old or will it be newly recorded? Mohit, what does that mean? Why will somebody give you an old recorded session? So what is old here? Can you clarify? Okay, so Teju is asking what's the difference between cloud engineering course, which is of 3 months, and PGPCC program 6 months. Great question, Teju. So the 3 months program that we have is designed for people who want to experience cloud and learn cloud and be cloud literate but do not necessarily want to become an architect, which means they do not want to learn things like, Microsoft Azure, DevOps, and microservices, private cloud, and so on, cloud financials, cloud design patterns. So all of that, knowledge is required for you to become an architect, because you have to take company-wide decisions, or at least project-wide decisions. The 3 months program is more suitable for people who are kind of either early career professionals, right, 0 to 5 years experience, and want to quickly learn what cloud is, and just AWS specifically, and cannot dedicate 6 months, or don't have that kind of bandwidth. Yeah. Teju, does that clarify your question? Okay, wonderful. Bharat, in that case, you can consider our other programs also. You can consider the 3 month program version, right, and go ahead with learning cloud. That's the very reason why we have that option as well. Yeah. Rajendra, so Rajendra, you can join our certificate program, which is for 3 months, right? If you're a fresher, that is essentially what's more suitable for you. Harsh, I can't really help you there. If UAE has Friday and Saturday as weekend, that's something which is beyond our control. So we have engagements on Saturday and Sunday, right? So yeah. So on weekends, one class of 2 hour duration, and then there are lab sessions which you have to do by yourself, and lab Q&A is optional. Yeah. So on a weekend, you need typically 3 to 4 hours of engagement. Okay, Anand. I'm working as a Microsoft SharePoint admin with close to 12 years of experience, including .NET developer experience. I want to transform to cloud architect. Will this course suit me? Anand, the answer is a big yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. Okay, Mohit. Okay, old means something which was recorded 1 year back, or something some months old, because there are some institutions have old video lectures which would provide latest update on that technology. Okay, so Mohit, we don't do that. We are not in those category of institutions, and we take our content very seriously. So, see, there are two things. One is the concept that you're learning, and two is the screens that AWS or Azure or Google have, right? Now, for example, Google Cloud regularly updates the UI for its cloud website, yeah, the cloud portal. So that can change. Okay, so if there are minor changes here and there, we update it on a periodic basis. But as far as a concept is concerned, what you learn will be relevant when you learn that. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to offer old videos to people, right? We have a huge reputation to defend. We are a world class organization, so you can rest assured about it. Mohit, I hope that answers your concern. Anand, for your prerequisites, we'll give you a course to do, right, as part of the program. And if you complete it honestly and diligently, you should be perfectly fine. Thanks, Mohit. Yeah, sure, Anand. Yeah. Teju, okay. Do I need to get a personal laptop or any virtual desktop provided to work, which I can use via my office laptop? Teju, you need a personal laptop. That's highly recommended. Office laptops have a lot of restrictions, including firewalls, and that's not great for learning, right? Because you would want to do a lot of things. So I recommend get a personal laptop. Yeah. Harish, the specific timings for classes depends on the month and the batch that you enroll. So the specific time for you will be communicated by the respective program office just 10 days before the program. Yeah, so we'll let you know that in advance. But the typical time slot is between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. India Standard Time. Yeah. So during the time of admission, you'll come to know that. Mohit, of course. I don't think there's anything where Mac is not supported, unless you have a really old Mac. So, yeah. Yeah, all Google Cloud employees work on Mac, so rest assured. Rajiv, 2 hours every weekend at a minimum. Mohit, that should be fine. Yeah, that should be okay. That is correct, Rajiv. Yes. So that session is meant for two purposes. One, obviously clarifying your doubts, both technical as well as conceptual, and also discussing use cases that you have in your mind, right? So if you have problems from projects at your workplace or in your knowledge, you can definitely discuss that. That is correct. Harsh, it could be either. It could be either a Saturday or a Sunday. That will be, informed to you in advance. So you get a program calendar, about 10 days before you join, and you get calendar for all the 6 months, so you can plan your activities accordingly. Pawan, it's a completely online program. There's no classroom interaction. So we have a classroom interaction, but it's online. It's through Zoom meetings, right? It's only on the weekends. Yeah, weekdays you have what you can think of kind of as a homework that you need to complete during weekdays. Okay, so all right, everyone. So I think we are up with time, and in the interest of everybody's time, we'll close for today. I sincerely thank each one of you for attending this particular session, and I wish you all the best in your respective careers. And should you have any questions or want to discuss anything individually, feel free to reach out to the email ID and the mobile number that you see in front of you on the screen. And I wish you all the best in your respective careers. Thank you for taking out time today. Have a good day. Surekha, yes, you will have recordings for all the sessions that you attend. So do not worry about it. Yes, that is correct. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Have a good day.